各位
Members, good afternoon. This is the appointed time and we have a quorum. So I call to order the meeting of the panel on information technology and broadcasting. Item 1, information papers issued since the last meeting. The Secretariat has not issued any paper since the last meeting. Mr. Michael Look and Mr. Dennis Leung gave me a joint letter dated the 26th of February to me for a discussion of online fraud cases. The Secretariat has referred the letter to the panel on security for follow-up. Next items for discussion at the next meeting. The next regular meeting is scheduled for the 13th of May, Monday, 2:30 p.m. in room 3. The administration has proposed to discuss 2 items. First, digital corporate identity platform. That's item 1 on the list of outstanding items for discussion. And the next item, new initiatives related to 5G development and the latest progress. That's item 2 on the list. Any objection to these 2 proposed items? No? Then we move on to item 3, enhance digital infrastructure and support to the development of the artificial intelligence ecosystem. Let me invite the administration to come in. Members, if you want to speak, please press the button. Let me welcome the administration to our meeting. We're joined by Professor Sun Dong, Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, and his team. I will invite Professor Sun to speak, and I suppose his team will also give us some opening remarks. Secretary, over to you. Members, Chairman, good afternoon. I am delighted to join you at this meeting of the panel on information technology and broadcasting to brief members on support for the development of AI ecosystem. The government attaches great importance to developing innovation technology, including digital infrastructure development. In 2022, the Hong Kong government promulgated the Hong Kong I&T Development Blueprint. And in fact, at the end of last year, the policy statement on facilitating data flow and safeguarding data security in Hong Kong was also published. In today's paper, we set out in detail our latest progress in relation to enhancing digital infrastructure and supporting AI ecosystem. I'm not going to repeat what is set out in the paper, but I think members will agree with me that there is a need to comprehensively enhance the digital infrastructure, to enhance the computing power so as to better take forward the development of smart city and digital economy. AI is a crucial component for the development and is one of the strategic industries. Now, according to the paper, we have introduced a multi-pronged approach. We adopt a top-level design. We have policies, guidelines, regulations, talent, as well as support for industrial development. We have targeted measures touching on up, mid, and downstream of the AI ecosystem. This is the priority of the government. I thank the Legislative Council for your support and for the funding approval as well, so as to help us take forward these important initiatives. The cyberport is an important infrastructure in Hong Kong. It is now taking forward at full steam the development of the AI Supercomputing Center, or AISC. The first phase is expected to commence operation in the second half of 2024, and in early 2026, the AISC will be able to provide a computing power of 3,000 petaflops. So this is quite we're at steps ahead of other places in the region. Now, in the 2024-25 budget, a $3 billion frontier technology research support scheme has been announced to support the 8 funded universities as well as the research and development centers, so that sufficient incentives will be provided to users to use the AISC and its computing power. The budget includes ensuring cybersecurity, public education, and the subsidies for the participants. For eligible users, the subsidies will be given to leverage computing power of the AISC up to 90% of the computing resources. For eligible users, they can also be subsidized up to 70% of the service rates as the computing power subsidy. These are important resources. We're going to request the Cyberport to draw up implementation details, and that an independent committee should be set up with members appointed by the government. They will consider different factors in formulating the subsidy amount and other funding arrangements to ensure optimal use of resources. Now, after passage of the 2024-25 budget, Cyberport will sign an MOU for the establishment of the independent committee, and that it will commence operation in the second half of this year. The Cyberport will also announce details in due course to give full support to the development of AI ecosystem. New quality productive forces form the major driving force of the development of digital economy and smart city. AI is a crucial component in this regard. I urge members to support this subsidy scheme so that we can work at full steam the development of I&T to dovetail with the national strategy. I welcome questions and comments from members. Thank you, Secretary. 9 members would like to speak. Let me read out their names. Mr. Kenneth Lau, Mr. Lam Chen Sing, Mr. Tang Fei, Mr. Chan Siu Hong, Ms. Eunice Yong, Dr. Junius Ho, Mr. Chen Kin Po, Dr. Lo Wai Kwok, and myself. I will give each member 4 minutes. Mr. Kenneth Lau will kick off now. Thank you. The AI Supercomputing Center will be up and running very soon. I think this is crucial to Hong Kong's development. It also builds a very good foundation for taking forward digital infrastructure in Hong Kong. I have 2 questions for the administration. This is a $3 billion scheme called the AI subsidy scheme. I mean, basically, we rely on the independent committee to vet applications. So about the composition of this committee, can you give us more ideas and the terms of reference, as well as the interval of meetings? Because subsidies will be given to local institutions, R&D centers, etc. If they don't hold meetings often enough, I think that this will slow down the vetting process. I see that $44 million out of the $3 billion will be set aside to support the whole chain from up, mid to downstream. And I'm concerned about talents. $44 million on nurturing talents. My question for the administration is, can you give me more details? Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Kenneth Leung, for your questions. $3 billion AI subsidy scheme. Now, how should the money be spent? We're going to set up an independent committee, the members of which will be appointed by the government, including government representatives, sector representatives, as well as representatives from the technology sector. I'd say that this is a representative committee. About the users receiving the subsidies, now we have the following targets: local institutions, local enterprises, R&D centers, especially AI, those related to AIs. So basically, this is the eligibility. The independent committee will be responsible for vetting applications and dealing with more technical matters. Now, on how frequent meetings should be held, we need to have regard to the number of applications. I think the overarching principle is not to let the applicants wait too long. We believe under the government's supervision, the Cyberport will be providing Secretariat support to the independent committee, and definitely they will achieve efficiency. About $44 million on nurturing talents. This is an important part of the $3 billion subsidy. $44 million will be spent on nurturing talents to complete the I&T ecosystem. Nurturing talent is an important talent. we are going to roll out some specific measures and plans, and depending on the latest developments, say if there is a great demand from the sector, we will suitably adjust the amount. I hope I've answered your question. Next, Mr. Lam Chun Sing. Well, the AI subsidy scheme will be implemented, totaling $3 billion for 3 years. And according to the government's target in 3 years, the computing power should reach 3,000 pflops. Now, according to some tech companies, they are of the view that in the long term, this is far from sufficient. According to their estimation, in the long run, we may need 15,000 petaflops. So I want to know whether there is any long-term plan formulated by the government on this point. And also, according to the paper, the users will be subsidized up to 70% of the service rates. Now, in exceptional cases, the subsidy level can reach up to 90% of the service rates. Can you tell me the criteria to be adopted in approving 70% subsidy level or 90% subsidy level? Has it to do with social impact and the background of these applicants? Third question, $44 million out of the $3 billion scheme will be spent on taking forward the development of AI ecosystem, including nurturing talents, inviting local and overseas AI enterprises to set up business in Hong Kong, as well as public education. $44 million may not be a large portion of the $3 billion in total. But about the task I just mentioned, shouldn't they come under other government departments, such as the relevant government departments being tasked to attract overseas enterprises to come or to nurture talents? So my question is whether you can save $44 million and focus on subsidizing users with the computing power instead. 3 questions. Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Now, Mr. Lam Chun Sing asked 3 questions on planning for computing power. The government earlier already commented on this point. According to the consultancy study report, by 2030, indeed, there is a demand for 15,000 petaflops. We need to take a progressive approach in building our computing power capacity. Well, that requires a lot of input. According to Hong Kong's current situation, we are of the view that in fact, in the coming 3 or 4 years, we should start with meeting the target of 5,000 petaflops to meet the needs of the sector. With AI development and development of digital economy, there will be an even keener demand for computing power in Hong Kong. In particular, as we base our development on digital economy and AI, in a few years' time, definitely this level of computing power will be far from meeting the sector's demand. The government, therefore, is already considering how we can provide an additional 10,000 petaflops of computing power. Perhaps, say in the mainland, they also have infrastructure to provide supercomputing power. I mean, the technology is developing in leaps and bounds. I believe in the near future, with advancement in technology, they can help meet the demands in Hong Kong. Second, about the subsidy scheme, according to the paper, eligible users will be subsidized up to 70% of the service rates. That means at each note, a user can receive 90,000. Can spend just $90,000 a month for the amount of computing power. Now we're talking about up to 90% of the service rates in some cases. This can help nurture some special entities such as universities, R&D centers, government departments, and local enterprises.
As for cultivation of talent, yes, the SAR government has been trying to grab talent and done a lot of work in that regard. Now, in this regard, we are focusing on the supercomputing center, and we are able to provide AI platforms, and we are trying to provide the talent specialists in this regard. I note that in the government document and in the background brief, it stresses the development of the AI ecosystem. Now, that is quite separate from AI development. Now, the IT blueprint has already been promulgated. Has there been a strategy on AI development in Hong Kong? Now, for this ecosystem, we offer a lot of facilities and funding. Now, in the AI industry chain, does the government focus on a particular segment, or are you trying to cover all of the chain, upstream, midstream, and downstream? Now, about the supercomputing center that's upstream, and there are also the manpower, and then downstream, the applications in finance, day-to-day living, and so on. Now, will our AI development cover both upstream, mainstream, and downstream? And also the supercomputing center, we don't know whether it serves only Hong Kong, or it will serve our neighboring areas, or they will serve us. Now, just generative AI, it uses a lot of power. There's an estimate by 2027, actually it might be a conservative estimate. Now, the generative AI power consumption of this world, of the entire world, will be the power supply for 3 countries. So will Hong Kong have sufficient power for this development? I thank Mr. Tang for his questions. Now, your first question mainly involves the AI development strategy for Hong Kong. Traditionally, Hong Kong has a lot of capability in the upstream area. Now, we rank 15th in the world in the AI articles, published articles. We are also ranked well ahead. So we do have a lot of capability. Now, on the AI industry, in the AI applications, now we lag behind our neighboring areas, especially the mainland. Now, on the future AI development, now, especially with development generative AI, there's been major development. Now, new technologies have evolved on the basis of generative AI. Now, OpenAI, it has a production of $1 trillion already, dollars already. So Hong Kong must basically keep up with the rest of the world. So that's why we need to build up our supercomputing power. We need to build up our supercomputing center. And then we're also concerned about data. In the past year, the SAR government has done a lot of work. Now, data connections with the mainland and so on. And also we have our edge on talent, and we are now building on that. Now, we want to build up our supercomputing center. We have set up Hong Kong Generative AI R&D Center. that means AI development is an important strategy for Hong Kong. Now we believe there will be technical breakthroughs in Hong Kong, and those breakthroughs will take forward the AI development in Hong Kong in various industries. Now, because that depends on our computing power. And then on power supply. Now, power cost is high in Hong Kong. Now, I like to hear comments from electrical members too. Now, given the high cost of electricity, now if Cyberport is the big user of power on the island, then there will be a very high power consumption for Hong Kong Island. Mr. Chen Shih-hong. Now, AI development proceeds at a hugely rapid speed. Now, the SAR government tries to make that our engine of growth, and computing power is of key concern. Now, $3 billion seems a large sum in the eyes of the public. $3 billion is a small sum with regard to supercomputing power. Now, the Secretary shows us that we need to demonstrate to the rest of Hong Kong, to the rest of the world, that Hong Kong has sufficient computing power. Now, you have 3,000 petaflops, but you will have a need for much higher a number. So we can start with $3 billion to provide that to the industry so that they can start working, and so that it shows the rest of the world that the SAR government has the determination and they will invest. And then we will attract more capital. So I support the deployment of the $3 billion. Two questions I'd like to ask the Secretary. The Cyberport Supercomputing Center, in your conception, Cyberport will provide the platform. Now, Cyberport, will it be a call center or a revenue center? Now, in many parts of the world, it's a call center because the multiplier effect is large. But Cyberport is a commercial enterprise. It needs a revenue. Now, also about the question by Lam Chen Sing. Now, in paragraph 20, it talks about $44 million for the supercomputing center and the main upstream, midstream, and downstream segments. Now I think that we don't need to save the $44 million. Now, when we try to cultivate talent and to attract talent, that's very important. We have $44 million. How do you balance between the major educational institutions, the Cyberport, and all the rest of? Do we try to strike a balance? How do we? Now, if we try to attract talent, how does Invest Hong Kong, etc., collaborate? Now, how do you coordinate upstream, midstream, and downstream development? I thank Mr. Chen for his support. Cyberport is a supplier. Now, it plays a role in our AI development. It tries to support the computing power aspect, so it shouldn't be a revenue center. Now, as a cost center, now we hope that it can be self-financing. Now, if there is a small profit, all the better. Now, the second question on the $44 million, I agree with many of your points. What I like to stress is that in the future, when we build up the supercomputing center at Cyberport, now, this will be the largest cluster of the use of GPU cards, and you don't even find that on the mainland. Many people say, now, how many people have actually experienced the use of AI? So the Cyberport will support our technology as well as our talent. It will nurture our talent for our computing power. That's why we allocate the $44 million for cultivation of talent. If it's not enough, we have to try to fork up more, because it's very important for Hong Kong. Can you talk about the relationship between the supercomputing center and other Hong Kong institutions? Now, in West Hong Kong. Now, now the other institutions can try to promote abroad to attract more AI companies, telling them that Hong Kong has such a supercomputing center. Now, Cyberport, Hong Kong Science Park, and so on, they will all provide the necessary assistance when they come. Please make good use of the time. Next, Ms. Yong Hoi Yan. Now, how we take forward AI development is now very clear. Now, especially for the supercomputing center, it can be commissioned at least in the first phase at the end of the year. Now, so whether it's the first phase of the center or the rest of the development of the completion of the AI, of the supercomputing center. Now, there are users who have bought hardware and they would like to make use of the computing center in as early as the first phase. Is that possible? Now, the AI development, it can be in a language model, or it can be in pictures and languages. Now, how do you get the academic sector to transform AI development into actual industrial output? Now, how would the Bureau take forward our cultivation of talent? The government has done enough work in this regard. We know many AI companies will establish in Hong Kong. Now, this will take forward our AI development, but how about our local educational institutions? How do they compute? How do they cultivate our AI talent? Because the bottleneck is that a lot of advancement is at the academic level. Now, it's difficult to get the professors to transform the results into market applications, because they have not been in the practice of engaging in business. So how do we get the academic research to be transformed into useful enterprises?
Thank you, Ms. Eunice Yong, for the two questions. Now, to answer the first question, Now, when all the critical infrastructure for supercomputing power is ready, I think the Cyberport Phase 5 expansion will only be completed in 2026, but we may not be able to wait that long. In Hong Kong, we have different computing centers, and the Cyberport is exploring the option of earlier commissioning of the facility. Now, for Cyberport, within this year, at least several hundred P-flops will be made available, or up to 1,000 P-flops. We should not let it go to waste. We should optimize the use as early as possible. You ask about allowing others to rent the facility, etc. According to the current agreement, this is not feasible. The AISC must operate as a unit. You ask about generative AI and how we should expedite the grooming of local talents. We use 90% of the AISC capacity to support local institutions, exactly for this reason. But at some point, the universities may only require several dozen or 100 P-flops. We also have Hong Kong and Raise Plus scheme. We have also Oasis to attract overseas enterprises, as well as the new industrialization accelerator scheme. This will be subject to the LegCo's approval, but once this is approved, we can help groom local talents. We will also be able to attract talents from around the world to come to Hong Kong. Next, Dr. Junis Ho. Thank you, Chair. I have 3 questions for Professor Sun. First of all, I'd like to stage my support for this proposal. We should, of course, invest in R&T. We're sowing the seeds for the harvest later. Now, for the $3 billion scheme, according to paragraph 3, we are going to build an AI supercomputing center. I stand to be corrected, but it seems that as far as hardware is concerned, we need to have a supercomputing center. Is that right? And then it is said here that eligible users will be given subsidies to make good use of the supercomputing power of the AISC at Cyberport. So how do you differentiate the different users and give subsidies to eligible users? Let's say if I build a radio base station, then I can let others use it. And say if I build an AISC, I allow others to use my computing power. Is that right? I don't quite understand what it says here. That is, you provide subsidy for users to use the computing power here. And then I turn to paragraph 4 and paragraph 7, and that it said that every dollar invested in computing power will lead to GDP growth of $3 to $4, or paragraph 7, something similar. Now, like Mr. Chan Sil-hung said, $3 billion is not a big amount. Will you be able to reap the economic benefits as set out in paragraphs 4 and 7? Because if you're able to do that, of course, I will make further investments. $3 billion, that's a big sum for me. But in the long run, this may not be a big sum after all. All right, the third question is this. Is also about the amount of subsidy. Professor. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dr. Junis Ho, for the questions. Now, for the $3 billion subsidy scheme, at the outset, it's very clear. It's to support the development of an AI ecosystem in Hong Kong. This is done through subsidizing eligible users to make the best use of the computing power by the Cyberport facility, so that we provide value for money for them to use the AI and supercomputing power. Now you ask where the money will come from. Let me tell you this. With the assistance of the government, the cyberport exercise fiscal prudence and implement financing arrangements. The cyberport has procured the supercomputing GPU cards, and they're in the process of building this facility. Now, next on GDP growth, the paper provides a short-term estimate of the GDP growth. In the long run, this will have far-reaching positive implications on Hong Kong's development, because in a country we also have supercomputing powers being set up, and I believe this will be very conducive to Hong Kong's development and growth in the long run. More and more enterprises will be attracted to come to Hong Kong to use the facility, and they will also bring positive benefits. 3 years down the road, is it possible that we'll continue to subsidize these users? I think this is a very good question. It will need to exercise collective wisdom along with electrical members to consider the model of subsidy. Mr. Chan Kin Paul. Thank you, Chair. I support the establishment of the AI Supercomputing Center. This is the global trend. We should take it forward as quickly as possible. According to the paper, there is a supercomputing pricing service. We need to be able to compete with other places. So my question is, comparing to other places, how are we faring? Are we faring better or worse? And I do agree that at the outset we should provide the subsidy. The subsidy level can be as high as 90%, as I understand. What about 3 years down the road? Eligible users may stand to benefit from the subsidies at the outset, but 3 years down the road, how are we going to sustain this model? Will you conduct a review on the circumstances by then? Well, still, I think that the service rates should be competitive enough, or else the users will just use the services elsewhere. Thank you for the questions. About the service rates, in fact, we conducted a very detailed market exercise. Well, in fact, we're talking about some 40,000 to 70,000. That's the level of consumption. Upon receiving the subsidy, the eligible users will spend about $90,000 out of the $300,000 a month. As we've gauged from overseas practices, they will be subsidized up to 70% of the service rates. What happens 3 years down the road then? I'd be happy to explore different options with members. This is a 3-year scheme that will help Hong Kong build a good AI ecosystem. With more users coming to Hong Kong, with more products being developed, after we've laid a good foundation, many of these enterprises will be able to make a profit, and then we can lower the subsidy level. Does it mean that with more users we'll be able to achieve cost effectiveness and hence lower the subsidy level? The problem is we don't have sufficient computing power. We need to build more facilities with supercomputing power, and we can't work on it alone. We need collaboration with the private sector, and by then we can rely on the market mechanism. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. Thank you, Chair. In this new era of digital economy and artificial intelligence, Hong Kong must grasp the opportunities, and that means we need to work on various fronts. Chair, we've chosen some items for discussion today. All these are interrelated. This is on enhancing digital infrastructure, developing AI ecosystem, and then next item we're going to discuss the establishment of the Digital Policy Office. And then third item relates to the data breach incident of the cyberport. All these are related. It's not just about dishing out money to support hardware development. When it comes to digital infrastructure and AI development, what stems from these things is cybersecurity. And we're going to discuss the cyberport incident very soon. We're not trying to apportion blame to anyone. After all, cyberport is the victim. But with technological advancements, we must not let our guard down against threats and risks. Now, this is a paper on the Artificial Intelligence Supercomputing Center. But let me just say this. In general, I think we are lagging behind others. For supercomputing center, I think this idea has been discussed by the sector for many, many years. And we won't achieve any result until early 2026. It's very questionable whether we can maintain competitiveness. I'll just skip the details in the paper. Let me put this question to you. How do we expedite our work? I think it all boils down to talents. Apart from attracting enterprises to come to Hong Kong and talents as well, we need to groom local talents. But we have demographic challenges. For example, we have a very low birth rate. We have only a very small pool of young people in the future, and there will be a competition among different sectors for manpower. So this is something that will hamper Hong Kong's development in the long run. So, Secretary, do you have any good suggestions to maintain our pace of development? Yes, I fully agree with Dr. Loy Kwok's comments. In fact, I see you are anxious. I am even more anxious about it. And that is why we are here at this panel meeting to discuss digital infrastructure and supporting the development of AI ecosystem. And with LegCo's funding approval in the second half of this year, Cyberport will be able to provide services with a supercomputing power. This is about the speed of development. Of course, we must seek approval from LegCo. And in fact, we set up the generative AI Hong Kong cluster. Apart from Cyberport, we also devise different facilities for computing power needs in Hong Kong. At the moment, we face very keen competition, and there is a great demand from our country. We are now charting our way forward. We'd like to see some results as quickly as possible. Mr. Duncan Chiu, of course, I support support the proposal to invest in AI. We should develop AI as our top priority. We are not just the Hong Kong I&T Center. We also need to maintain our competitiveness for all sectors, and AI is key. Now, for the $3 billion scheme, well, of course, I understand the current economic environment, but still, this is just a small sum. In fact, there is a support scheme in Singapore is $1 billion Singaporean dollars, and out of it, half of the amount will be for the procurement of GPU. So just for this part, it far exceeds the $3 billion subsidy scheme. It also shows the commitment that we respectively put in AI, and we are competing with each other. We should make good use of the $3 billion scheme. As mentioned by other members, money should be spent on training, etc. My question is, now for the $44 million, has the government discussed with other institutions to put it to good use? In fact, I had a meeting with the Poly University. In fact, every student will be required to take a short AI course. So apart from the tech sector, other sectors should also learn more about AI. Well, this can help share out the training needs. And also about the $3 billion scheme, some money will be spent on attracting enterprises and investment. Now, if we're talking about some large corporations, then the $3 billion scheme will be far from sufficient. So for attracting investment, shouldn't it come under the Hong Kong Investment Corporation? If we apportion some money from the $3 billion pool to attracting enterprises, we should focus on AI startups, whereas for top-notch and leading enterprises, perhaps the Oasis or the Hong Kong IC should be responsible. Next, on the point of power consumption. If we are to build the AISC here in the long run, we need to address this issue. It's all about competitiveness, because if we have very expensive electricity charges, then as far as the cost is concerned, we will lose out to other places. And then these users will become a burden to our society because they will be disincentivized to use our facility. They will go elsewhere. So we need to address the issue of power consumption. Now, somebody mentioned data centers, but I think there's something else, because we have different levels of data centers. There should be proper planning for the establishment of data centers and the supercomputing center, so that we form a cluster, and in the long run we introduce when we open up the electricity market to enhance competitiveness.
谢谢主席。
Secretary, we thank Mr. Chiu for his questions. I will answer in a simple manner. Now, I'd like to stress that the supercomputing center will offer an important training platform for local talent, and I expect that Cyberport can collaborate more with local universities. Now, on AI, it's not a question of $3 billion using part of that for certain purposes. Now, some enterprises, when they come to Hong Kong, they need computing power facilities. Now, we need such enterprises, and when they come, when the enterprises come, they all ask for government subsidies. Now, the Cyberport can offer some computing power incentives in their service. So basically, it offers computing power service. Now, our computing power incentives are mainly for universities and local startups and so on. But maybe if they fulfill certain conditions, we will offer those incentives to them. Now, the independent commission will do the approval, take care of the approval process. Now, on the power supply, we will continue to explore the matter. It's a very broad issue. Now, new industrial development, lowering of costs. Now, this is all about cost. We also have to reduce carbon transmission. Now, will our power supply be green in nature? Mr. Holden Chow, I support the digital infrastructure and the supercomputing center. For AI development, the supercomputing center is essential and it needs to be continually upgraded. Now, in the document by the government, there are mid, upstream, midstream, and downstream planning concerns. Now, this is to encourage the use by private institutions. But if the government itself, if certain departments make use of this facility, is it possible? Because the judiciary told me that they would like to use AI in their administration. Now, I support that. No. Well, maybe they don't use the system at Cyberport, but is there a possibility that certain government departments like the judiciary can make use of the supercomputing center? And also about the natural environment. The document says that in the medium to long term, you may have the computing center at Sandy Ridge and Santin. Now, I am not very knowledgeable in this regard. Does the supercomputing center requires certain conditions to be met in the natural environment? Now, I don't know whether that's essential for the construction or the operation of the centers. We thank Mr. Ho, Mr. Chow for his questions. His first question I'll leave to the permanent secretary. Now, actually, in paragraph 11 of the document, we expect that government departments can apply for the subsidy scheme. In an earlier study, we found that many government applications may need to make use of supercomputing power. Now, this center will supply the computing power, and the departments will use their own algorithms. So we did take that into our consideration, and that's one criterion in the applications. Tony? Now, if we look at the supercomputing center, it's a high-end data center. Now, it doesn't have much impact or requirement on the natural environment, but it's a high-end data center. Now, it uses a lot of power in the AI chips in it, so it needs a substantial amount of electrical power. So there must be sufficient power supply. Also, cooling system must be available, and the center must also have certain security requirements because the data and the equipment need to be protected. Mr. Xiu Ka-fai. Now, in the two sessions this year, one topic is new quality productive forces. Now, on innovation technology and AI, how it dovetails with traditional industry, that is a major direction. So the AI ecosystem is supported by members, including me. Now, we need development of infrastructure, talent, and capital. Now, the document talks about talent. We have a research talent hub and technology talent admission scheme. So right now, how many of these talented persons have come from the mainland and from abroad? Now, for the AI talent, will we have more ways to attract them, including education for their children, or will we offer subsidy for their housing so that they can stay in Hong Kong? And on capital, now $3 billion would be enough. Now, for innovation and technology, cost is a concern. Now, in the initial investment, I&T requires a lot of investment. How much do we need? Now, on the first question, I'd like to the Permanent Secretary to answer that. Now, two schemes are mentioned, the Research Talent Hub and then the talent admission scheme. Now, on the now, for instance, in the past, now this first scheme started in 2018. Now, over 9,000 applications have been approved. The quotas were granted for the companies to engage talent from abroad. The number has been rising. In the past year, if I remember correctly, several thousand have been approved. So on talent, the need is rising. Through these schemes, we attract quite a number of them. Now, in a innovation platform by the InnoHK, there are over 2,000 persons. They are engaging in high-end technology. So we are able to attract talent from abroad as well as local talent. Now, on the financial provisions, now for the SAR government, now the first step is most important. Now, for this first step, we are to build the ecosystem for 3 years with the $3 billion. Now, after the 3 years, we will plan ahead for that. Now, a major direction is that we hope to progressively reduce the subsidy for local enterprises. I hope that the subsidies can reduce as they get stronger. And then we hope to attract more private participation in the construction of the AI supercomputing center. This is an important direction for the next 10,000 petaflops. This is progressing in the northern industrial development areas. Now, software is also very important besides hardware. Now, some talent in the design of integrated circuits, many of them return to the mainland. Now, actually, some of these enterprises moved to the inland parts of China, and some of these talents returned to Hong Kong, but they couldn't find work. Now, can the government find ways to let them participate in I&T for them to play a role? Now, paragraph 12 mentions that at the supercomputing center, now there would be $3 billion to help local academic institutions so that they can make use of the computing power at the center for their research. Now, the document mentions the independent commission. I believe it is a dedicated commission. Now, I hope there would be a monitoring body to make the final decisions. Now, for the $3 billion, I hope that the vetting process would be strict. Now, we don't want to just supply the $3 billion to Cyberport. Now, sometimes when they come up with a model, now in the results, will that include returns to the government itself to be fed back into the supercomputing center? Now, when there are certain outcomes, now will there be returns or part of the returns that can be fed back into the development process? Otherwise, the $3 billion would not be sufficient, and then the government would have to come to the LegCo for further funding. Now, I hope that for the $3 billion, it can generate returns that can be plowed back.
Secretary, thank you for your question. You talked about talents from Hong Kong moving up north and then coming back in the development. This is also a matter close to our heart. In fact, we face a lot of issues. We are short of talents, and we also have people out of jobs. And the only solution is to take forward I&T development. Now, to answer your second question, as the paper suggests, the independent committee will comprise members appointed by the government, and the government will do a proper gatekeeping of the member of the committee. The AISC, in our view, should gradually move towards a market-oriented model. It is necessary to provide subsidies to universities and research institutions. But more importantly, after they receive subsidies under the scheme, they need to contribute to the sector and the economy, and we will consider that in a holistic manner. I'm going to draw a line here. We have 3 items today. Professor William Wong. Thank you, Chair. I have one question about development of AI ecosystem. Of course, this is essential. But I don't think you have exercised lateral thinking. Say in Singapore, they consider preparing the 11 LLM model as they take forward supercomputing, AI supercomputing centers. We are an international city. We definitely will attract talents from different places. So are you going to prepare different language models? And to pick up on the question put by another member, we should lay out a comprehensive plan on the development of artificial intelligence. LLM is just one aspect, Secretary. Thank you, Professor Wong, for your questions. Let me say this to you. The SAR government has given it some thoughts well in advance. Of course, today's topic is on establishing the artificial intelligence supercomputing center at Cyberport. About the LLM and language models, we will report the progress to the public in when at an appropriate juncture. Nothing else from Professor Wong, right? Next is my turn. I support the development and I support the government's proposal to roll out the $3 billion scheme. In fact, many members touched on the funding for grooming talents, and I share what Mr. Duncan Chill said. I think you will run out of money very soon, so you need to address that. And the other question is on power consumption. Now, Secretary, you say that we should exercise collective wisdom. My take is this: have you considered optimizing the use of government resources? There are two major bottlenecks when it comes to the AISC. The first one is that it will only be up and running in 2026 upon completion of the phase 5 of Cyberport expansion, and we are still in 2024. It will be a long wait until 2026, and we're too slow. Secretary, can you speed it up? Next, about the electricity charges on the Hong Kong island is much more expensive than in Kowloon and the New Territories, and it is doubtful whether Cyberport AISC will be able to provide sufficient computing power. And let me declare that I am an executive director of the Hong Kong STP, and in fact at the AMC there is space available. Will the government consider establishing the AISC at AMC of the Science Park instead? Power supply is something you need to look into, but I think that it will be quite possible for you to boost power supply in Science Park instead. And we also urge the government to introduce new and green energy from the mainland as soon as possible. In Tseung Kwan O, a note will be set up for green and new energy to be introduced to Hong Kong. So this will be a possible location for the AISC. I hope the government will give it a thought. Another question is this. Last week when we held a meeting on Northern Metropolis, I raised the same question. Definitely, supercomputing centers will be set up in the Loop and the Northern Metropolis because there will be a very great demand for computing power. So my question is whether we can plan ahead on the water and power supply, and according to the government department, they require you to put forward the relevant demand estimates for them to plan ahead. That means you need to provide the relevant estimates to them now. Otherwise, the plan to be formulated will not be able to help meet the demand for supercomputing power. So you need to start planning now, and I hope that the government will consider these 2 points well in advance. Secretary, your response? Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth Quad, for your invaluable input. Indeed, we should not wait until the completion of the Cyberport expansion project in 2026 before we make good use of the supercomputing cards. They've been developed for years. They are ready for use. Now, the Cyberport senior management is working full steam on the project, and as I said, we will make announcements to the public as early as possible. We also hope that the Cyberport management can come up with better ideas for us to report to the public. On power supply, at Science Park, we've been liaising with them as well. I understand that Science Park is also building its own facility. In fact, in the New Territories, there are some locations that can help us build data centers, computing or supercomputing centers. On top of the existing data centers, we can also improve the facility by providing them with supercomputing cards. We keep all options open, and that's the case for Cyberport as well. Regardless of the physical location of the center, Cyberport will be the running organization, and Cyberport already has the existing hardware, and according to the consultant's opinion, after all, Cyberport is a very important flagship unit to take forward the development of digital economy and smart city in the future. We should give Cyberport this important duty. Now, some 10 to 15 hectares of land has been reserved to take further the development of Cyberport in terms of artificial intelligence, digital economy, etc. So there will be similar facilities in the northern metropolis. On water and power supply, in last year's policy address, Sandy Ridge was mentioned. In fact, we are working with, as a team, so that in Sandy Ridge, we can allow collaboration with the sector. In the past few months, the government has been actively liaising with different units. We use Sandy Ridge as a pilot point. And in fact, for the northern metropolis, the loop, etc., we have by and large completed the planning. So in terms of the various plans, we always put focus on innovation technology. All right, as far as I have heard, I think that there is no objection from members on the development of AISC. According to the paper, it will be up and running in early 2026, the earliest, but I look forward to some good news. Second item, establishment of the Digital Policy Office. Members, if you want to speak, please press the request to speak button. Secretary, please walk us through the paper. Chairman, members, I'm happy to attend the meeting of the panel on information technology and broadcasting to brief members on the establishment of the Digital Policy Office. The Chief Executive announced in the 2023 policy address that the government will set up the Digital Policy Office, or DPO, for formulating policies on digital government, etc. And this will involve the existing office of the government Chief Information Officer as well as the Efficiency Office. They will be restructured and reorganized. Digital Policy Office can help enhance government governance, improve public services, and help upgrade and transform different industries to enhance our competitiveness. In December 2022, the Hong Kong R&T development blueprint was promulgated, and developing digital economy is one important direction. Now we want to set up a dedicated unit to take forward the development of a digital economy and smart city. There are 3 branches under the DPO to take forward the 3 major portfolios: digital government, data governance, as well as digital infrastructure. We will make use of internal IT resources within the government so as to promote the opening up and sharing of data, as well as enhancing the research and collaboration, taking forward people-oriented policies. The new office will also take forward digital infrastructure and development of smart city so as to achieve a single portal for all government services. We are also going to set up digital platforms to implement solutions, as well as allowing e-payment options for all government services. The office will also formulate new policies and measures to take forward digital infrastructure development. There will be closer collaboration with the mainland and with the industry for sustainable development of Hong Kong. We are also going to enhance the management and implementation of information technology services so as to enhance the cybersecurity of our network. We'll also closely collaborate with the relevant sectors to enhance the connectivity of digital infrastructure and data in the Greater Bay Area and allow a greater flow of data in the Greater Bay Area. The DPO will be responsible for different tasks, and it will also foster collaboration with the mainland. Now, we need to reorganize the Efficiency Office and OGO. We also need to create one permanent directorate post to enhance liaison and coordinate with the mainland authorities, ensure or facilitate cross-boundary data flow in the Greater Bay Area, as well as coordinate work plans, implement measures with different government departments and business sector. All details can be found in the paper. According to experience and actual consideration, we propose to regrade the Efficiency Office head post to AOSGB, so as the Deputy Commissioner responsible for digital government of the DPO. We'd like to seek the views of members, and subject to members' endorsement, we will submit the establishment proposal to the Establishment Subcommittee for approval by the FC. We aim to complete the relevant procedures by the middle of this year for the establishment of the DPO.
Remind members that if there are pecuniary interests by members, please ROP 83A, in accordance with that, disclose your interests, and also please note the requirements regarding the voting. 7 members have Chen Shih-hong, Lim Chi-long, Ho Yan, Lo Wai Kwok, 5 persons, 4 minutes each. Chen Shih-hong first. In 2023, policy address, the CE announced the establishment of the Digital Policy Office. There will be 3 main areas: digital government, digital governance, and digital infrastructure. I welcome that. Now, all along, I have championed the establishment of a big data bureau. That is some distance from that, but we need to move forward in a progressive manner. At least there will be a DPO to take forward the digital economy and digital government. So we hope that the legislation will be completed in this regard within this year. Now, I am concerned about the commissioners' duties. Now, this is listed in enclosure 1. Now, in the commissioner's duties, it doesn't cover industry and security, but that is under the duties of the deputy commissioners. Now, in paragraph 15, there are 5 items. But that is dealt with at a lower level. Now, the commissioner, for the commissioner, cybersecurity is most important. Now, it says here that when there will be separate assessments for systems that interface with the public, but how do we ensure that there will be red teams that will continually assess the cyber security concerns. Now, secondly, now on industry, now we say that the government wants to help establish the industry in this regard in Hong Kong, but I don't see the word industry being emphasized in the duties of the commissioner. Now, will that be part of his KPI? The permanent secretary and future commissioner, what will be your views? Now, when we set up the Digital Policy Office, now there will be three main concerns: digital government, digital governance, and digital infrastructure. Now, for each area, there's a deputy commissioner who will cover that. Now, the duties are listed, and so cybersecurity and industrial policy, that is all covered. Now, now point number 5 is to steer forward the industry development. So the deputy commissioner's duties cover all these, and you can see that in the enclosures. Now, on cybersecurity, it merely stresses the cybersecurity of projects. But how about system security? Now, maybe you need to amend your document or your description. Now, as the secretary and the permanent secretary said, now the commissioner has to be in charge of all three areas, and that covers industrial development, especially collaboration with the mainland. So we added a post of assistant commissioner just to cover that. Now, as for cybersecurity, now in the third area of work, that is digital infrastructure. Now, cybersecurity is a very important part of that. The wording is that project management and cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity is not just internally oriented. Of course, the department's projects have to be in accordance with they must be cyber security safe. Now, but also we need to collaborate with the mainland. Now, my office is doing that already. The new DPO will have a dedicated assistant commissioner handling that, covering both project security and cyber project management and cyber security. Next, Chen Cho Hang. The secretary will supplement. Now, in the past and of course in the future, the IT office has focused on cybersecurity. Now, the OGCIO has always been stressing that. Now, and I believe that will also be our future direction. Next, Chen Cho Hang. I'm very glad to see that we will be setting up the DPO. Now, the permanent secretary has explained the duties of the post. And I would like to clarify some points. Now, on industry, in the document, it's talking about digital-related industries and the AI industry and so on. Now, but to give an example, in another committee, we were talking about smart travel. Now, that may require some data from the government. We also need data on the visitors, the hotels, the tourist destinations, the visitor flow, so that we have sufficient data for a good experience by visitors. Now, when we formulate digital policy, now at the policy level, how do we make use of data from government institutions and data from the industries, and which department or organization will handle this so that we can be more competitive making use of the data. Now, Mr. Chen's examples and comments describe well the future role of the DPO. Now, we have office for new industrial development, and we also have offices covering tourism and so on. Now, but it's all related to government policies on data. Now, last year we signed important agreements with the mainland, and that has been practiced first in the Greater Bay Area. Now, this offers great opportunities for Hong Kong, and this will be an area of contribution by the DPO in the future. It may not focus on just one industry, but it will consider the current development of the industries. Now, for instance, we focused on healthcare, information, and so on. Now, so this is the future work of the DPO. It will work with different government departments. Apart from enhancing government efficiency, it wants to promote digital development in Hong Kong. I'm very glad that we will have a digital policy office. Now, in the council meeting, I said that I hope there would be a big data bureau now, but we are so this is a step ahead. It takes us forward now. But first question now, of course, you have done certain assessments in drawing up the document. Now you draw up standards and policies for different departments. Now, when you draw up these policies and standards, do you start from zero? Now, or how many steps will there be ahead? Now, you have to build a structure where the departments are all interconnected and make use of each other's data. How far are you from that? And among the departments, they all have their own data banks. Now, in the future, what's the future direction. Now, of course, departments, of course, have the responsibilities for keeping the data, but you will have a big platform. Will there be policies or laws to be the common use of these platforms? Will the steps be provided?
主要
Last question, paragraph 13 of the paper. This relates to data within the government. What about data outside of the government, which may be useful? Will they be incorporated into the platform, such as public transport data? In fact, we've discussed these matters for a long time. Please speed up. Tony, would you like to respond to the 3 questions? Yes, very briefly, please. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Salam, for your suggestions. How far are we away from our goal? We've always been moving to striving to achieve the goal, and we don't just stop at that. We make continuous improvement. For example, you mentioned data. Indeed, data are kept by respective government departments. That is why we need to encourage opening up and sharing of government data. As a start, we are working on this target. We hope that by next year we will be able to yield results so that with better connectivity for data sharing, we can benefit the business sector and the public. For example, the applicants won't need to submit documents to different government departments for a single application. Instead, with sharing of data, this can be achieved through just one trip to our office. And then, after we collect useful data, we will be able to develop more innovative services for the business sector and the public. So we do have a moving goal, and we make continuous improvement. To respond to the members' next question about using data outside of the government, we create an open platform. And through this platform, we encourage other public organizations and public transport operators, for example, to open up the database as well. And this is something that we'll continue to follow up on. Next, Ms. Eunice Yung, Deputy Chair. Thank you. I support the establishment of the Digital Policy Unit, our office, rather. I think that the setting up of this office can help with improved coordination. On top of OGO, we want more, greater efficiency in consolidation of data, such as data retrieval, data application, and I think this is a good opportunity. In terms of data governance, digital government, etc., as mentioned in the paper, this proposal will help take all these initiatives forward. So this office will definitely help with the development of I Am Smart and address various issues. For example, some government departments' bureaus are at the moment facing different problems, and I think the DPO can help provide oversight, especially in response to the comments made by the audit. For example, for outsourced work, we need big data to step up monitoring as well. And that means we need a one-stop portal for all data to come under one place. If we rely on the individual government departments, it's difficult to gauge the progress It's difficult to, for example, understand the adoption of technology by these government departments and whether it is effective. So to set up an office and be the expert in this regard will help drive the development of digital government. So I support your paper. Now, as far as the establishment is concerned, I understand that 9 permanent directorate posts will be transferred. As mentioned in paragraph 2E, Commissioner for Efficiency will be changed to the one office holder in this office. Is pitched at D4. My question is whether it's sufficiently a high-ranking official. Because if you are a D4 official, you may not be able to effectively communicate with other bureau chiefs. I think we all understand what I'm referring to. My question then is whether D4 is a sufficiently high-ranking official, whether it has sufficient authority. Secretary, whether this post holder will have the teeth. Well, I'll give this question to the Permanent Secretary. Thank you. By establishing the Digital Policy Office, we are going to merge the existing OGO and Efficiency Office so as to create synergy and achieve 1 + 1 is greater than 2. There will be additional manpower. This post holder, D4, is head of Efficiency Office at the moment. This post will now come under the new office, and this post holder will be in charge of the digital government branch. And in fact, it's a D6 post for the Commissioner of Digital Policy, and that this office will work as a whole in taking forward the initiatives. Right, please give it a thought whether you should make it a higher grade official instead of just D4. So that means D5 instead of D4. Or for this D4 post holder, they will be assisting a D6 post, that is the Commissioner for Digital Policy. That means this office is headed by a D6 post. Right, I will need to draw a line here. We're running out of time for this item. Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Chair. The government is going to reorganize the structure and merge the OGO and Efficiency Office. I agree that this will help take forward the digital government initiative so as to provide better public services, so that we can enhance speed, efficiency, and quality of government services. And I thank the Secretary for sending his staff to explain the details of the proposal to us. Now, my suggestion is this. Upon reorganization, you should cultivate a good culture in the office. To salvage dignity for the government departments concerned, sometimes you may not be able to do exactly what you've had in mind. Secretary, I understand in your paper you propose to create 1 permanent post. So you need to explain to us why there is a need to create a permanent post, what are the difficulties, and then also please explain to us whether you've reviewed the existing structure and explain the alternative, why this alternative of redeployment doesn't work. Hence, having the only option of creating a permanent post. Because the mainland is developing digital economy in leaps and bounds, and I do look forward to stronger collaboration. You need to give us the justifications. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Dennis Leung, for the comments. I fully agree with what you said just now. In fact, for this term of government, as we enter a new phase from stability to prosperity, Chief Executive John Lee places special emphasis on entering a new phase, turning a new chapter, entering a new era, and that is why we've rolled out many new initiatives and measures. This is also the start of a new chapter. We are breathing in some fresh air. About the creation of a new post, I think Permanent Secretary already explained this. My take is this. Yes, we are going to create a new post to foster greater collaboration with the mainland, especially on the Digital China Initiative, cross-boundary data flow in the Greater Bay Area, and also cross-boundary public services. These are matters arising only in recent years. Now, Mr. Leung, even if we didn't set up the Digital Policy Office, OGIO would be applying for additional resources because of this very important mission. In fact, they have been fighting an uphill battle with limited manpower. They are given more and more on the plate. They only have an establishment of just several hundred to take up a big portfolio. For the Digital Policy Office, as you should understand, their work will get more complex, and yet having considered the situation, we reorganize the structure and we are only applying for one additional post to be created. There are indicators, and we need to abide by the zero growth of the civil service establishment, and all in all, I urge members to support our proposal. Dr. Loy Kwok, thank you, Chair. Last round, I mentioned that in this new era of artificial intelligence and digital economy, Hong Kong must not lag behind. So I fully support the establishment of the Digital Policy Office. According to your proposal, you're going to merge two existing government departments, that is the OGO as well as the Efficiency Office. So according to the paper, only one assistant director permanent post will be created. Other changes will involve redeployments and regrading of posts from the previous offices. I don't have strong views on manpower resources. Rather, I'd like to make this comment. This office will involve high-level steering. Well, it's for the public to decide whether at the moment the government is doing a good job in this regard. The mission of the Digital Policy Office is to formulate policies and strategies at the high level so as to maintain Hong Kong's competitiveness against very keen global competition. My concern is that you may have included very specific goals by merging the two offices, and it may sound very grand in your paper, but I do have doubts whether this team can provide high-level steer, as you mentioned. Now, say for the efficiency office, I'm sorry to say that not many people understand the work of this office. How do you inspire confidence by setting up the DPO?
Sure.
Secretary, now the DPO was mentioned by the CE in the policy address last year. This meets with the requirements of recent developments. So this is a very important step. Now, the new DPO isn't just a merger of two departments. There were new functions endowed on it. Now, so this is data driven, digitally driven development of the Hong Kong government and of Hong Kong. So the office has important responsibilities, and that's why it's given more powers. So there are smart city measures, digital governance, and collaboration with industry. So the SL government attaches much importance and hope on DPO. Now, the existing division work is already being undertaken by Division of Labor, but there are new directions. Now we have to collaborate with the mainland. The new requirements for digital flows and so on. So the newly created post is an important member of the team of the leadership, and it's an important addition to the DPO. Now, how to let the public understand more of the DPO's situation. Now, after the office is established, I believe the colleagues concerned will undertake the publicity required. Now, the Secretary is telling us what we are hoping for, and of course we support that. We support the establishment of the DPO, but will iron be transformed into steel? We are not fully confident yet. We encourage them to try, but we have high hopes. Next is my turn. Of course, I very much support the government attaching importance to data. Now, I and two other members have established this, have formed a small group with a request for a big data bureau. Now, at the time, the Secretary said that we will certainly do something. And so finally, they are setting up this digital policy office. Now, it's some way from the Big Data Bureau that we hoped for. The main thing is that will the DPO has what it takes to make all the departments provide the data available to them. We want government data to be shared within the government and with the public, and also we want a digitally driven economic development. So data isn't just used internally within the government, but it's also to be used by the industries to create a vibrant new economy. Now, that's why we are so concerned. We give you our support. At the same time, we are concerned with the just the ITIB and the DPO can accomplish all these objectives. Now, in our experience, this is a very difficult challenge, and it's a glorious assignment. Now, so that's why we have all these questions for you, and we hope that you will take our concerns into your consideration. Now, the OGCIO and the Efficiency Office have been combined. Now, in the past, the members felt that very often the government staff just provide data that are handy to them. They're not really that useful. Now, with this reorganization, will you have more posts that are recruited from the business sector, those who have people who have INT and startup experience, so that the overall government team can be richer in experience and more market-oriented. And although I'm not very happy, but industry development is a small part of data infrastructure. Now, we think that's short of what we hope with regard to industry development. So how can you have industry development without the involvement of the business sector? Now, some of these posts are filled by AOs. Now, will more of these posts be openly recruited to take forward our digital economy? I thank Ms. Quack for her questions. The Permanent Secretary first. Now, concerning the new office, the highest, four highest posts, the DPO and the 3 deputy commissioners, the DPO and the second deputy commissioner, that the one responsible for data governance. Now, these can be openly recruited. Now, so half the posts can be recruited from abroad. Now, whether they are internally recruited or openly recruited, it will be on a case-by-case basis. Now, the OGCIO, Tony, on industry development. Now, it doesn't mean that industry development being placed under a certain branch shows a lack of regard for its importance. Now, the new office will try to have more collaboration with the mainland. So we try to attract industry from the mainland, and they can use Hong Kong as a springboard to go abroad, and they will bring opportunities to Hong Kong. And as we integrate into the Greater Bay Area, this will let Hong Kong have a broader platform to develop Hong Kong businesses. All these help development of local industries. So starting from the DPO, the DPC, everything has an eye is with regard to industry development. Now, maybe the new office can find ways to cover both digital governance, but also get experts from the industry to offer suggestions and comments. Now, you might establish consultation committees. That's one way, but now, out of 13 directorate posts, only 2 can be openly recruited. Now, I think you might consider further opening up. Chair Siu Hong, you want to ask for the second round? 2 minutes. Just now, the chairperson and members have been concerned about the fact that the DPO should be established early and that it should have the resources and power necessary. So if you encounter difficulties and come back to us, we will give you our strong support because we think digital development is so important for the future. Now, since the OGCIO and the Efficiency Office are combining, now the original duties of the Efficiency Office that are not related to digital transformation, will they still be engaged in, and if so, they will be handled by which departments? Now, because many efficiency-related measures, they do not relate, some of them, or at least parts of them, do not relate to digital development. So who will handle those? The commissioner? Now, a large part of our work and part of the reorganization involves the new technology and the digital policies. So we will focus on the work related to new technologies and digital development. Now, of course, you will engage in your work which is related to digital development and new technology. But when a lot of the reorganization of government structure, now who will handle that? The situation is this. After the merger, the Efficiency Office, its work will not be handled by other departments because it will be taken care of within the DPO, because the DPO and the efficiency unit, they were all trying to improve the efficiency of the government, and we are trying to enhance that with the merger. So we will undertake the original duties of the efficiency office, and we will try to do it better. So I don't see any member objecting to this proposal. So we will suggest that this will be handled that the matter will be forwarded to the establishment subcommittee. Now we will invite Cyberport to join us for the next item of agenda, that is the Cyberport security incident. So we welcome the chairman and the new CEO of the Cyberport Management Company.
各位翻译员
Last week, chair of the panel, Ms. Elizabeth Quat, contacted me. She asked whether it was possible to make use of today's panel meeting to discuss the cybersecurity incident. Now, the administration welcomed this idea. In the past few months, there have been concerns expressed in the community. The government, the relevant public organization, and LegCo members should make use of this appropriate occasion to respond to this incident. Now we need to review what happened and chart our way forward. And this is the reason why we're discussing this matter. Now, since the incident happened in August last year, the Cyberport has implemented a lot of measures. What is the way forward for them? Apart from taking remedial action to prevent repeat of these incidents, what is of utmost importance is to salvage the image of Cyberport and prevent further losses. This is also something that the government is very concerned about. Cyberport is the flagship unit to take forward digital economy development in the future. There is a lot on the shoulder of Cyberport, apart from the establishment of the AI supercomputing center, developing AI ecosystem and digital economy. It also carries a lot of responsibilities in the future development of the northern metropolis. Now, the panel will discuss this incident, and I will give the floor to Chair of the Cyberports Management Company Limited, Mr. Simon Chan. I understand that they will use a PowerPoint presentation, is that right? Please switch on his mic. Chair, members, before we start the PowerPoint presentation, I'd like to first say a few words. Now, in relation to the cyber attack incident, we have some very strong feelings. We understand that cybersecurity is of utmost importance to any organization. Only when we have cybersecurity will we be able to ensure long-term development of the organization. In fact, right after the incident, the Cyberport immediately appointed a third-party expert to conduct an investigation. We've also received recommendations from the expert. We've successfully built a firewall against subsequent attacks. At the same time, we have also introduced improvement measures at the institutional level to prevent a repeat of this incident. In relation to the enforcement notice issued by the Privacy Commissioner, we will implement all the requirements in the coming 2 months. We will make sure that all the recommendations are properly implemented. We'd like to say this to those affected. In fact, we've provided free of charge dark web monitoring services for the persons affected, and in fact, we've just appointed new members to Cyberport's management team. We believe that this will bring in some fresh air to Cyberport's management. We'll continue to enhance our work on ensuring cybersecurity, and we will do our utmost to prevent cyber attacks. Next, let me give the floor to the Chief Executive Officer of Cyberport, Dr. Rocky Chan. He will brief you on the cyber attack incident with the aid of a PowerPoint. You just assumed office on the 1st of March, right? Welcome to LegCo. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members, for allowing us this opportunity to walk members through the ransomware attack incident. In August 2023, hackers illegally accessed the network of Cyberport. Cyberport was subject to ransomware attack, and the files were maliciously encrypted. The hackers first obtained unlawfully the credentials of an account with administrator privileges. And then using a remote desktop software, the hacker accessed Cyberport network and stopped the anti-malware installed in the information system of Cyberport from functioning. Afterwards, the hackers installed a malware, a ransomware in the system. As a result, a number of servers and file storage facilities of Cyberport were infiltrated. After the cyber attack, Cyberport immediately reported the matter to the police and informed the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data. We also immediately engaged an independent cybersecurity expert to conduct in-depth investigation and a review. Within a short period of time, we took on board the recommendations made by the expert to build a firewall against subsequent cyber attacks. Cyberport also refused to pay ransom to the hackers. As a result, the relevant data was leaked onto the dark web. 13,632 data subjects were involved. The credit card information of some individuals were leaked, but in fact just a handful of them, as well as health information, date of birth, employment information of these individuals were leaked. Now, the board of Cyberport expressed a serious concern about the incident, and the board immediately set up a task force to take forward the improvement of cyber security. And the task force worked on 3 directions. First, to further enhance the resilience of the network to ensure cybersecurity, and second, to contact and support those affected to mitigate any potential risk. And then the third direction is to improve personal data management measures to protect personal data privacy. On enhancing our capability against cyber attacks, we have adopted a number of measures to build our resilience. The expert has put forward 16 recommendations. 15 of them have been implemented, and Cyberport is working full steam to implement the remaining recommendation. Now, these measures include enhancing the endpoint protection software to enhance detection of cyber attacks and infiltration, and as well as stopping cyber attacks. We also engage a red team to conduct cybersecurity checks. We also enhance our network surveillance tools to enhance the protection of the network. We will continue to enhance the relevant strategies, procedures, and guidelines to build our resilience against cyber attacks. For data subjects affected, we have engaged an independent cyber forensics consultant to monitor the dark web so as to identify those affected as much as possible. We also contacted the affected individuals through registered mail and telephone, etc. We provided them with services free of charge offered by a third-party service provider, such as a dark web identity surveillance service. So we did our very best to help them. The other service free of charge is the credit surveillance service. This is also one effective method. Say, for the person affected, if there is unauthorized transaction, outstanding loan, unpaid loans, etc., the matter will be referred to the individuals concerned as quickly as possible. At the same time, we also reviewed our practices, and the expert put forward 17 measures. The 16 recommendations I mentioned relate to technical aspects, but this is about how information or personal data are kept. So we review all the guidelines and measures to ensure compliance with the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance. We also stipulate the retention period of personal data in our system. We also draw up implementation details on deleting personal data that the retention period of which has lapsed. And on this occasion, we failed to delete personal data that should have been deleted upon expiry of the retention period. So we've drawn up implementation details. When we further engage a third party to conduct a safety audit to ensure effective implementation of these measures, to ensure that these measures are effective and sustainable. Next slide. In relation to the enforcement notice issued by the Privacy Commissioner, the Privacy Commissioner published a report a few days ago. It contains a number of recommendations, and the Privacy Commissioner requires the recommendations to be implemented or enforcement action to be taken within 2 months. And there are 7 items. Most of them have actually been implemented, and we're confident that all 7 items can be implemented within 2 months. After that, we will engage another third-party expert to conduct audits and see whether further improvement is needed. Let me go through the 7 items with you. First, thoroughly review the security measures of Cyberport's information systems which contain personal data to ensure that they're free from known malware and security vulnerabilities, and that information systems have effective detection measures in place. Now, we have engaged a third-party expert to confirm that all possible loopholes have been plugged. We also follow up on the 16 recommendations put forward by the expert. As I explained, 15 of them have been implemented, and we are confident that the remaining recommendation can be implemented within the first half of this year. Second point, we also need to enhance our resilience. In fact, this happens to many other enterprises being victims of cyber attacks. We need to enhance the endpoint protection software. We need to enhance the capability of detection of cyber attacks and infiltration. This has been done. We've conducted the ethical hacker test, and we've also enhanced our tool on monitoring the security of the network. Now, second action item is that there should be multi-factor authentication according to the Privacy Commissioner. So Cyberport has installed a new VPN, so a user will have to log in VPN as well as go through the double-factor authentication in order to gain access to the Cyberport network. We also monitor the activities of users upon logging in, and on a regular basis we review whether we should adjust the authority for remote access. Third item, engage an independent information security expert to conduct risk assessments and security audits on Cyberport's information system at least once a year. This is a very good suggestion. This is something that Cyberport would like to implement as well. In fact, recently, Cyberport has issued tenders we're going to engage another third-party expert to help with the auditing work. So we do our level best to improve information security. And before the commissioning of a new system or new application, information security risk assessment and audit should be conducted. There should be clear and comprehensive information security policies and procedures. On this point, Cyberport will continue to improve the information security policies and procedures to ensure clarity, comprehensiveness, and we need to formulate measures to prevent a repeat of the incident. Obliterate all personal data which were held beyond retention periods from Cyberport's information systems. Right, so we've deleted all personal data relating to job seekers upon the lapse of the 1-year retention period, as well as personal data of ex-employees upon the lapse of a 7-year retention period. All departments will also review the personal data in their possession and should delete the data according to the established policies. We've updated the data retention policy as per the request of the Privacy Commissioner. Item 7, devise and implement effective measures. We have stepped up internal audit to ensure compliance with the above requirements. We'll also step up training and step up the assessment. The assessment will be conducted on how mature the cybersecurity system is on a regular basis. And in terms of managing third-party risks, etc., there will also be a comprehensive check as well. Again, an independent third party will be engaged for this task. We also draw up plans to implement drills. To conclude, Cyberport has implemented 15 recommendations out of the 16 put forward by the experts. We are doing our best to implement the last recommendation. We have also implemented the 17 measures put forward by the task force to improve data management, and we're actively following up on the 7 enforcement action items required by the Privacy Commissioner. Within 2 months, we will engage an independent expert to audit the above measures to ensure effective implementation. We'll continue to enhance our policies, procedures, and measures on enhancing cybersecurity to guard against security risks. We will take this opportunity to learn a lesson and to enhance our overall cybersecurity capability.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. 10 members have to speak. Now, the third segment, the time is tight. I will extend the meeting by 15 minutes. Try to be succinct, 3 minutes each. 陳小空、許世強、梁振聲、盧偉國、姜偉民、梁志永、陳建波、陳學龍, and I myself. 陳小空 first. I will be succinct. Now, cybersecurity is of utmost importance to any organization. Now, Cyberport has to provide cyber services. So if people lose confidence, the customers will not come back. This was very regrettable, what happened last year. Now, I agree with the CEO that cybersecurity is always an ongoing concern, but the evildoers are often trying to get ahead, and they will do their best to break through your security measures. I have over 40 years experience in corporate management. Now, we need to attach importance to the transmission of data, and there need to be measures for defensive ability, the corporate and staff culture, and those are included in your measures. Now, on the implementation, out of 16 measures, 15 have been concluded. Now, what is the one that has not been completed? Now, the remaining one will be completed before the end of the year. How about the risk in the meantime? And now, on the red team by third party, now that action is very important. Take my company for example. Our company were supposed to have a strong firewall, but the third party found many loopholes that we didn't expect. So getting the third party to conduct the audit and by entering our network was important, and it needs to be done continually. Now, did the Cyberport do this in the past on a continuing basis? Did you get third party to be the red team? Now, if you didn't do that, why? Succinct, short response, please. Mr. Cheng? We thank you for your question. Now, out of the 16 measures, the remaining measure is the adoption of a tool. Now, there is data loss protection tool. Now, it's not that we haven't done it at all. We have done it. Now, the servers concerned have been covered. We are now replicating it to the remainder where there is less data, and we are confident that it can be done in 2 months. Now, the risk is controllable in the meantime. Now, we have certain priorities. Now, some of it is not personal data, but we try to cover that also. Now, we mentioned red teams. I agree that we need to improve on that. Now, right now, the cyber attacks are increasing very substantially. The cyber attacks, so we need to upgrade our practice. Now, apart from red teams, we do also what we call purple teams. That is, now the purple teams will examine the workflow and the effectiveness. Mr. Deacon Chu, please leave sufficient time for the reply. Now, I was a Cyberport director for 6 years. Now, so I also understand that there are over 1,000 companies in Cyberport, but there are less than 100 staff. So how can one conduct the best defense? Now, out of the 16 improvement measures, 15 have been done, 1 is on the way. Now, those engaged in cybersecurity are in strong demand, and they are rather short supply in the market. Now, of course, you have to train your staff. You can make use of red teams. but and also the government, they are also government units are often of a similar scale as Cyberport. Now it's not easy to retain staff. Now you can get experts and you can train red teams. Well, now the DPO and the DPC, will you have your own teams? Now, if you get the Cyberport to find these teams, it may be difficult, but within the government, you can have your own teams. Of course, you can outsource as well for these protection measures. So how will you better undertake safety measures? The OGCIO, Tony? We thank Mr. Chu for his suggestions. Now, the government has various departments, and the cybersecurity expertise has to be increased continuously. Now, we should have an overall arrangement. We are thinking of getting credible organizations to come to Hong Kong to support the government, to support its departments, to support public institutions, and even our SMEs. So in the coming year or two, we try to attract large cybersecurity concerns who have done well to establish in Hong Kong to help us. So we need a pool of resources to support different entities and the government. We will continue to study that. Next, Lam Chen Sing. Thank you, Chair. Now, I was attending at a Bills committee, so I hope I'm not repeating someone else's question. I'm glad to see that Cyberport has undertaken a lot of improvement, but mainly you arrange for third-party advisors. Now, how about your own staff, especially on information security? Do you have sufficient talent and staff? And secondly, this may not be limited to Cyberport. Now, this incident reflects that other government departments or public institutions may also need to pay attention to certain aspects of their work. For instance, we are scrutinizing a lot of legislation. For instance, the electronic traffic penalty tickets. Now, 2 weeks ago, the Provident Fund organization also comes to us, and they also have data security concerns. Now, the OGCIO already issued email to government departments to review their security measures following the Cyberport incident. Now, how has been the progress in that regard? The OGCIO has also a guideline on government information security. Now, have you urged the government departments and public institutions to comply? OGCIO, the CEO first. We did examine our own manpower. We are short on that. So first, of course, we are recruiting suitable staff. And secondly, we try to train our own staff. We try to enhance the IT capability and the IT awareness of our staff. Now we engage parties to do the assessment, because one may not be always be able to keep up with latest developments ourselves. Now, on cooperation with industry, now many industries do well, and we can learn from their advanced experience, and we will do that. Also, we will introduce network installation framework, and so we follow this framework, and we will be able to keep up even if some staff have left.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Member, for your suggestions. Every time when it comes to our attention that any government department or private organization encounters a cyber incident, we consider the main reason why this happens. We need to share information with the private sector for them to review their own systems and see whether this could happen to them too. That means whether they are using the same hardware or software. This should be done as quickly as possible. So that's about the sharing of intelligence or information. As for follow-up action, again, we take a two-pronged approach. For government departments, OGIO operates this government cloud as a platform of data centers or the main database, and the majority of government networks and computer systems are protected. Hence, our team could very swiftly plug gaps and ensure cybersecurity protection. We need to inform the relevant departments as quickly as possible in order to plug the security loophole. And if this is a major loophole, we do impose a deadline for the loophole to be plugged as quickly as possible and for us to be informed afterwards. We also issue guidelines for reference by government departments and private organizations. On a regular basis, we update these policies and guidelines. Once every 2 or 3 years, we update the policies and guidelines in light of the latest cybersecurity developments. In fact, in the end of this year, we plan to promulgate a new set of guidelines for reference by government departments as well as the sector. Responding to another member's question on how we can build a database to help the sector and to facilitate information and experience sharing. This is something that we will work on, especially for public organizations. More resources will be provided to support the work on enhancing cybersecurity. Dr. Low Wai Kwok. Thank you, Chair. The internet brings a lot of convenience to the general public and business opportunities to different sectors. But there are also problems arising from the use of the internet, such as cyber attacks and cyber crimes. Now, the problem has become more and more prevalent. We are concerned about the cybersecurity incident on this occasion. It's only natural that we are concerned. I understand the senior management of Cyberport has adopted measures to plug security loopholes and take remedial action to patch up for what has been lacking. This is a good deed. Cyberport has the experience of managing the a very vast network. So we are confident in this new team of management. In fact, my question is this. Now, I am doubtful as to whether we are really tapping the pulse of the current situation. And this is a question for the police as well. How well do we know about the current situation, in other words? For government departments, public organizations, or quasi-public organizations, we've all heard about some painful lessons being learned. You need to consolidate the resources on information security management, you need to give advice to public and private organizations alike. And I think that this actually brings out a bigger issue than the cybersecurity incident. As the name suggests, you should specialize in cybersecurity, and we expect more from you. Unfortunately, I think many private companies would rather pay the ransom payment. So I think, first of all, we need to make sure we are keeping track with the current situation when it comes to cyber security. Who will take this question, please? Mr. Tony Wong. In fact, we work very closely with the Cybersecurity and Tech Crime Office of the police. We assess the cybersecurity in Hong Kong in various aspects, such as cyber crimes, etc. I won't say that we have very high risks, but I agree with the member that we should closely monitor the situation because it's constantly evolving, and that is why we should collaborate with the sector to safeguard cybersecurity in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a very open network. We welcome business entities from all over the world to set up presence in Hong Kong and use our network. But as is so open, it's also vulnerable to cyber attacks from around the world. And that is why we need to step up surveillance. We also need to enhance the resilience in government departments as well as the private sector. We collaborate with the sector. We share the know-how and we share information. And we will continue to do that. Within this year, we plan to roll out new collaboration initiatives. And the member just made a very good suggestion. That is, we should enhance the drill arrangements. This is something that government departments, private organizations, and the business sector should do. In fact, it's a very good practice. Drills can help you enhance cybersecurity. If you have something like ethical hacker attack drills, then you can have a red team and a blue team and gauge the actual situation. And when you put the operating system to the test, you will know what loopholes to be plugged. In fact, this has been implemented in the mainland for many years, and at the provincial level and at the city level, we've talked to the relevant authorities, be it the government systems or systems in the business sector, In fact, in the beginning, they could identify a lot of loopholes, but through repeated drills, they've managed to make improvements. So we plan to introduce something similar to Hong Kong in the second half of this year with participation by government departments and other entities. The OGO will take the leading role and will also learn from the experience of the drills in the mainland so that we continue to enhance our ecosystem. Right, about the drills, I think, Chair, our panel should receive a progress report from the administration in due course. Right, perhaps Mr. Wong can tell us the result after the first drill. Ms. Carmen Can. Thank you, Chair. I declare that I handled risk management and the Chief Executive Officer of Cyberport, Dr. Chang, just left the organization that I am working for, and I thank the member for showing confidence in his work. And I fully agree with Dr. Chang that this incident represents a good opportunity for us to review what happened and chart a way forward. Cyberport is a wholly owned subsidiary of the government, and the directors are appointed by the government. I understand the importance of tone from the top. Now, starting the 1st of April, I understand some new directors have been appointed. About the board's oversight, will there be any enhancement? Because now that the task force on cybersecurity has been set up, of course, the task force will be responsible for handling these matters. But at a higher level, how will the board provide steer? The other point is about sufficient resources. I think what stems from this incident is that we need to provide more resources to improve the system as well as the manpower. Another point, there are 7 enforcement action items in the Privacy Commissioner's report, and according to Cyberport, they have implemented the majority of these items, such as item 4 and item 7, that is to formulate and devise comprehensive policies and procedures. Item 7, implement effective measures, so on and so forth. And Cyberport has conducted on a regular basis assessment of the maturity of cybersecurity measures. Well, I'd like to answer the first question on the board of directors of Cyberport. Similar to other companies, directors of the board are nominated or recommended by other parties and appointed by the government. Now, after all, Cyberport is a profit-making organization, so the overarching principle is not to micromanage. The management of Cyberport is basically the responsibility of the board. The board takes up this very important duty of overseeing this public organization. After this incident, the ITI Bureau is the oversight authority of Cyberport. On behalf of the government, we set up liaison with the board, and in fact, Chair Mr. Simon Chan of Cyberport has been communicating very closely with the government. Dr. Rocky Chang walked members through the measures adopted by Cyberport to address the enforcement action items. This also involves the participation of the government as we face more and more challenges in taking forward high-level development. Apart from Cyberport, we will also talk to and step up liaison with more public organizations to ensure proper oversight. And I will invite the Cyberport to take the next question. I will extend the meeting by 15 minutes. Dr. Chang, I thank Ms. Carmen Khan for the question. In order to have good governance, we fully agree that the board is the primary responsible unit for management of Cyberport. On information security management, we have established practices such as reviewing the information security policies and receiving risk assessment reports on a regular basis and receiving reports on major incidents. All these come under the portfolio of the board. And on this occasion, we also strive to implement effective measures as quickly as possible. Apart from setting up a task force to take forward the measures in the 3 directions, throughout the process, we provide resource support for the board's oversight of Cyberport. We also give feedback to the suggestions of the board. Ms. Khan just now asked about making reports to the audit committee in the future. In fact, it is the board's views that implementation details and results should be reported to the board. That means the board will deliberate on whether additional resources are required or follow-up actions are required. I thank Ms. Khan for her concern.
Next, Mr. Leung Chee Wing. This is a wake-up call for the government and the major organizations on the maintenance of cybersecurity of their systems and on the employment of manpower. We need to improve on our defensive measures to avoid repeat occurrences. So I hope that the government can enhance its work. In particular, the government can set aside certain dates for cybersecurity or for handling of cybersecurity cases. Now, these operation systems are all from abroad, and they have a backdoor to handle certain incidents. Now, we need to improve on improvements in this regard. I hope the Cyberport on cybersecurity on the ability for control from or intervention from abroad, or for the credentials for access. Now they need to improve. Now they may use VPN, but always there will be loopholes. Now, on double authentication, etc., you need better mechanisms. Now, third-party investigation has been engaged. Now, apart from that, I hope that Cyberport can also have an internal study and report. Because you need to tackle the shortfalls of your internal systems so that everyone provides input. Now, all three are good recommendations by Mr. Leung, Mr. Chen Kim-pong. As the Secretary said, the cyberport plays a very important role in digital development in Hong Kong. There's a lot of measures to be implemented. So I agree that third-party services are appropriate. The experts have the experience of more cases. Now the hackers operate on a global basis, so you need to find the right experts. Now, the staff also need to have a strong sense of compliance. Now, I was an independent director of companies. Very often, the staff were negligent because of their negligence. They fail in external tests. So in this regard, does the cyberport have new measures? Mr. Chen is right. Staff training is very important. Now, many organizations feel that cybersecurity is the duty of the IT people. Now, cybersecurity is actually the responsibility of the entire organization. The frontline staff can occur. The attacks can come in any part of an organization. Now, so we have talks for our staff, and we also have material that we make sure that our staff should read, and they are tested on those. And also we have once email phishing once or twice a year. So we want to see the concerns of staff are being raised, and we will talk to the department if the staff fall short. And we have sharing sessions for staff. The training is not just for staff, but also for startups within the cyberport. And so the consultant companies or cybersecurity companies who are invited to talk to us and raise the awareness of our staff. And we wish to promote certain requirements for our staff and for our member startup companies. Now, they may feel that these measures are inconvenient, so we try to talk to them beforehand. I think this security incident is significant not just for cyberport, but for government and private enterprises in Hong Kong. So I hope that the government and OGCIO can take steps to enhance cybersecurity in Hong Kong. I have two suggestions. Now, the CEO said that out of 17 measures, most are being undertaken by the workforce, and the CEO is an expert himself. So I think we need to be in contact with the emergency handling center of our nation. Now, they have ample experience in this regard, and they have conducted many tests this year. So if they are involved, then it will raise confidence. And why is it that we do not have enough talent? Now, but this is can be expected because we missed out on some cyber developments now. Some well-known experts. We should try to leverage on their expertise. Thank you. I take note of and will take on board the members' two suggestions. Our thanks. Now it's my time. Now we see a lot of a few short areas where Cyberport fell short. For instance, on manpower. Now, so this is a matter of concern. Given this incident, we hope that the government departments and Hong Kong overall should be more aware of cybersecurity measures. So I realize the importance of Red Team, and we've heard from the CEO and the OGCIO, and we've heard about the importance of cybersecurity drills. Cyberport has a new beginning. New personnel have joined. I believe Mr. Chang has sufficient expertise and experience to turn a new page for Cyberport. Hong Kong does face some problems. Even before the Cyberport incident, some large organizations encountered hacker attacks, ransomwares, and so on, and personal data was stolen, and so these incidents continue to occur. That means overall, cybersecurity in Hong Kong faces some challenges. Now, we've heard Mr. Chang say that the OGCIO says that the government will conduct mock attacks and drills, and I think it's also good to get the national team to assist us. And the CEO said that not only the Cyberport itself, but startup companies within Cyberport will also engage in training, and I think they should also engage in mock drills and attacks. Now the insufficient manpower problem is also a real one. Now that has been referred to by the OGCIO. You said that there should be more drills within the government and within other institutions, and we should train more local personnel to enhance cybersecurity. And I'd like to hear from the Secretary. Now, the cybersecurity measures and laws, are they sufficient in Hong Kong? We can take learn from the mainland. Now, on how to enhance the cybersecurity talent pool in Hong Kong. First, we have to attract these talents to Hong Kong. So we have regular sharing sessions and exchange sessions where we invite experts from the mainland to engage in exchanges with Hong Kong people, and we invite government departments and the industry, the operators of public institutions and so on, to engage in sharing or interchange sessions, and these will provide opportunities for mainland companies to come to Hong Kong. Now, this will enhance the skills of cybersecurity in Hong Kong, and also this will help to train our local talents. They can engage in drills and competitions in this regard. Now, so this will enhance Hong Kong's ecosystem. Now, we extend the meeting by 5 minutes.
目前
Secretary. Now, as explained just now, it is important to enhance the security of a critical infrastructure in Hong Kong to keep our status as an international financial center and an international I&T center, as well as other centers. We need to draw up relevant legislation. We should start with measures relating to the operator of critical infrastructure and the cybersecurity. In fact, the ITIB has provided assistance to the government in drawing up this bill. The target is to introduce this bill in the council within this year. Cybersecurity incident. Now, the internet is not a lawless zone. The existing legislation, the majority of them, I'm of course not a legal expert, but I'd say that the majority of the laws of Hong Kong do apply to acts and activities on the internet. We'll continue to work with the police. In terms of future developments, the modus operandi of cyber crimes are constantly evolving. So we need to keep up with the times and amend the legislation in a timely manner. This is an ongoing task. We will continue to work closely with the relevant government departments so that we can formulate a comprehensive legal framework to ensure cybersecurity in Hong Kong. In fact, I think it is necessary to amend the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance. Michael, you'd like to speak? I need to further extend this meeting by 5 minutes. Sorry, I just came back from the other room. There's another meeting going on. I thank the Chair for allowing me to speak on the Cyberport cybersecurity incident. This incident is, of course, a lesson for Cyberport. But more importantly, we need to educate the users. So my question for the government is this. No matter it's a government department, OGO, or other users of the system, can we do something to raise the awareness of the users on cybersecurity? Who will take this question, please? Tony? Just very briefly, within the government, we have regular training for our staff. to raise their cybersecurity awareness. All government staff are required to take part in these training programs. We also provide different tools. For example, every year we have drills within the governments. Different government departments are invited to join. We also have tools for government departments to remind their own staff. Say we have some drills relating to phishing emails. Let's say if a staff member inadvertently clicks the link of a phishing website, an instant reminder will be issued to alert the staff member that the incident could be just the click of a link away. I welcome drills, Chair, as a prevention measure. But more importantly, do you have a rescue team so that when a crisis happens, you can respond quickly to the incident? This will ensure stability in our society because, after all, the incident may affect the general public. Well, now that I have a better idea of the member's question, I can tell you that we do have this regular arrangement. In each government department, we have a response team. An officer will be appointed to be head of the team, and if something goes wrong, a report should be made to OGO. We'll provide technical support and advice for remedial action. So the first step is to rectify the problems happening to a particular government department, and we also need to share information with other government departments and to alert them of the incidents. So these are the things that we'll do. That's all for item 6. Item 5, item 6 AOB, nothing under AOB. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you, Secretary, for coming. Thank you, everyone, for attending.